Okay, guys, this is Miss Thompson. I just wanted to come to you guys today to show you how to make a table using equivalent fraction ratios and to graph those points. So, we're going to look at this problem. It says for every cup of flour, 2 batches of cookies can be made. Create a table showing the batches of cookies that can be made with up to 5 cups of flour, then plot the values on the coordinate plane. So the first thing we need to do is we're going to underline the ratio that is giving us. Every cup of flour, 2 batches of cookies can be made. So our ratio of cups of flour, 2 batches of cookies will be 1 to 2. Okay? So when making our chart, we want to look at the 2 pieces, the 2 parts. So on the first part of the chart, we want to write flour. And on the bottom, we need to write cookies. And they want us to see how many batches of cookies that can be made with up to 5 cups of flour. So we're going to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the amount of cups that we're trying to find. And we're going to write the amount of cookies that each will make. Now, we already know that 1 cup of flour makes 2 batches of cookies. So we're going to write the 2 there. In order to figure out how many 2 cups of flour will make, we need to multiply the amount of cups by 2, because every 1 cup makes 2 batches. So every time we add a cup, we need to multiply each by 2 to figure out how many batches of cookies that amount of flour makes. So 2 cups of flour would make 4 batches of cookies. 3 cups of flour will make 6 batches of cookies. 4 cups of flour will make 8. And 5 cups of flour will make 10 batches of cookies. Now, we're going to use the chart to make our graph. Now, the parts of a graph, we have a graph here. And then our bottom axis of the graph will be the x-axis. And then the vertical side is the y. The best way to plot this is to look back at our chart and know that the flour will go on the x-axis and the cookies will go on the y. So we also need to label our graph. So x will be cups of flour. And y will be batches of cookies. So we have cups of flour on our x-axis. And then we have batches of cookies on our y-axis. Now, we need to number them accordingly. So we know we're figuring out the cups of flour up to 5. So at our corner will always be 0. And then we need to number our graph. So our graph is going to be numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all representing the amount of cups of flour we will use. And then we're going to scoot it over. And we're going to do the same for batches of cookies. So we'll do 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 at the very top. Now, when graphing, we need to make sure that we follow our lines to make sure we put our points at the right place. So, when we come back up to our chart, our first point is going to be on the x-axis 1 and the y-axis 2. That is our first ordered pair. So we'll come back down to our graph. We'll find 1. We'll come up where it intersects with 2, and we'll plot our point. Now our next point from our graph is 2 on the x-axis and 4 on the y-axis. So we'll come back, find our 2, where it intersects with 4, and our point will go there. With 3, our next ordered pair is 3 and 6. So we'll come to the 3 on our x-axis and come up to where it intersects with 6. And then we'll plot our point. And we'll continue that with the 4 and the 8 and 5 and 10. Now, the way that we'll know that our graph is correct is that our points will come together to form a line. And the word we'll use to describe this line is linear. This just means that the line is straight. So each time you apply your equivalent ratios, it will need to be a straight line. Okay, so there's our table. And then I'm having a hard time getting that whole graph in there. Here's the graph, and this is what it'll look like. Okay, so what you need to do is make sure that when you're doing your graph that you're labeling both sides of the axes. The x-axis needs to be labeled for what it stands for. So for us, it's cups of flour. And the y-axis needs to be labeled too for batches of cookies. And when you put your numbers on there, you need to make